Mr. Sergeant of Arms, invite the members into the chamber and close the doors. I hereby declare the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee now in session. Will the members please stand? Will the visitors in the gallery please stand and remain standing through the Pledge of Allegiance? Representative Sapicki will introduce the chaplain of the day. Representative Sapicki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, I should say. Today, Rabbi Saul Strasberg joined Shearith Israel as its spiritual leader in August of 2005. A native of Schenectady, New York, Rabbi Strasberg received his ordination from Yeshiva Hovei Torah under the leadership of spiritual activist Rabbi Avi Weiss. Rabbi Strasberg completed internships at the National Synagogue in Washington and Beth David Synagogue in Hartford, Connecticut. He also attended Yeshiva University in New York and Hebrew University at Ateret Kohanim Yeshiva in Jerusalem. Nationally, Rabbi Strasberg serves on the steering committee for the International Rabbinic Fellowship, is on the board of Yeshivat Maharat, and acts as an APAC rabbinic mentor. In town, Strasberg is the director of the Nashville Kosher Commission and the founder of the Jewish Upper School in Nashville. Rabbi Strasberg is married to Rabbi Daniela Pressner, who is the principal of Akiva School, and together they are proud and grateful parents of 4 children. Rabbi.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I wrote a 30-second prayer for this afternoon. It's called Dayenu. Dayenu is from the Passover story that we tell. Dayenu is a Hebrew word that means it would be sufficient, it would be enough to say thank you to God. So when we reach the refrain, all you have to say is Dayenu, which means it's enough to say thank you. We stand in this chamber as inheritors of a long and winding journey toward liberty. In tradition of Dayenu, we reflect on the milestones of our nation and our state, acknowledging that each step toward justice was a gift, and yet each gift calls us to go further. So here we go. If you had brought our founders across the sea to seek liberty, but had not sustained them through the winters of a new world, Dayenu. If you had sustained them, but had not inspired the pen of Jefferson to declare that all are created equal, Dayenu. If you had inspired those words, but had not strengthened the resolve of the Union to endure the fire of civil war and emerge as one single nation, Dayenu. If you had preserved our Union, but had not opened the doors of this very Capitol to the voice of the suffragists who won the right to vote on the Tennessee soil, Dayenu. If you had granted us the right to vote, but had not raised up the prophets of the civil rights movement to call us toward a more perfect and inclusive union, Dayenu. If you had given us those leaders, but had not entrusted us, the representatives of this assembly here, with the stewardship of our neighbors' hopes and the protection of their children's futures, Dayenu. But you have done all those things, and you've brought us to this moment in the 230th year of our statehood and placed the mantle of leadership upon our shoulders. May we never be satisfied with the progress of the past, but instead let our gratitude fuel our labor for today. May our deliberations be worthy of the history that brought us here. May our actions be a blessing to every citizen of Tennessee. Amen.
Representative Sapicki will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Roll call.
Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, 92 members present.
Let the journal reflect Representatives Haston, Shaw, and Cochran are excused. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Welcoming, honoring, and announcements.
Welcoming, honoring, and announcements. Representative Warner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have some great folks, homeschoolers from Spring Hill and Williamson County. Could y'all make them feel welcome, members, please?
Representative Hemmer.
Just Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two guests in the gallery from Franklin Road Academy. I have Elise and Ava, who are in 11th and 12th grade and are here on spring break learning how government works. Please make them feel welcome.
Representative Hilton Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please make welcome representatives from ALS Tennessee. They're here today with us in the gallery.
Representative Jones of Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On March 5th, we lost a prophet named Dr. Bernard Lafayette. Dr. Lafayette started as a student here in Nashville, desegregating lunch counters. He passed away coincidentally at the same time of the Selma to Montgomery March anniversary. He was one of the foot soldiers who laid the groundwork for the Selma to Montgomery March when he was working for Dr. King. He also organized the Poor People's Campaign in 1968 for Dr. King, and he also was in prison in Mississippi as part of the Freedom Rides. He was president of American Baptist College here in Nashville, and also a local pastor who resided in Tuskegee until his death. And I just want us to take a moment of silence to honor him and his wife, Kate. And I know that we don't really give our elders the respect that they deserve, but I think Dr. Lafayette is an American hero and a prophet who deserves a moment of silence to honor him and his family. So if you take a moment of silence.
Representative Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, my oldest boy, Cole, turns 15. He's a ninth grader at Richland High School, and he is in the balcony with us. So please welcome Big Boy to the Capitol.
Representative Kiesling.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's great to have from the great 38th House District today, two of our 4-H chapters here, Scott and Clay. Are you guys up? Can you all stand, please, just a moment and get recognized? Would you all please give them a great big house welcome? Thank you.
Representative Sherrill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you would, I'd like to ask each one of you if you would stand for a situation that is going on in, or has went on in Warren County. We had a man that he has shot and killed a lady and her daughter and killed himself. And just, if you would, remember these families in Warren County. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Carringer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have my granddaughter, Olivia Scarlett Carringer, and grandson, Jack Michael Carringer, who are paging for us today, and their precious Polly, who is up in the gallery. They are all proud to be from the great District 16 out of Knox County. Thank you all.
Representative Hill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Back there with all the other pages, my youngest son, Hudson Aaron Kenneth Hill, is back there, and we just want to make him feel welcome, and thank you, members.
Representative Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I stand here with Representative Susan Land, and we've got a couple of leaders from 4-H in Wilson County, Grace Harville and Morgan Beatty, and they've got a couple of 4-Hers with them, if you'll make them feel welcome.
Representative Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I spent the weekend visiting a high school student that was detained near my district. I went with the administrators of his school to visit him. He's really worried about his grades and being able to do his schoolwork. I asked if I could bring him his schoolwork, and that request was denied. I asked the student if there's anything that he would like to communicate to y'all, and he said that he's a good person. He's a soccer player. He works at his studies. He has a job, and he's not a criminal. And to take that into account, I hope that we can have his release soon. From what I have been able to gather from the school, he was just leaving school with his friends to go to his soccer game. So please keep him and his family in your prayers.
Representative Barrett.
Thank you, members. Representative Littleton and I are here to ask for your recognition for the loss in Dixon County of a significant leader in the community. This past weekend, Judy Redden passed away, and her commitment to the community was extraordinary. She served as a founding board member for the Clement Railroad Hotel Museum, volunteered with Meals on Wheels, gave her time to patients at Sarah Cannon Cancer Center, served as 2 times as board chair of Horizon Medical Center. She received the CASA Community Service Award and the First Humanitarian Award and the Helen Ryle Leadership Award. She's survived by her husband of more than 50 years, Larry Redden, with her children and grandchildren, and Dixon County will deeply mourn her loss. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Representative Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to welcome one of my interns, Abigail Neely. She's working for the Health Committee as well. Her parents are here. If you can welcome her parents, we have Doug and Melissa Neely. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you.
Representative Love.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please help me in congratulating Tennessee State University's men's basketball coach, Nolan Smith, who led his team in his first year of coaching to a 23-9 record. Also, OVC champions and OVC tournament champions in his first year of coaching. And he's also the OVC coach of the year. Please give him a round of applause, everybody.
Representative Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I have Paige with me today. I have Miss Victoria Woods. And don't let her fool you, at 6 years old, this is her second time, so she's prepared to take on the most complex requests that we have. But let's make her feel welcome today.
Representative Fritz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have 2 more Veterans Caucuses planned, one for the 11th and one for the 18th. On the 11th, we will have Veterans Health Services there, 7:30, House Hearing Room number 5. We would invite all members to come out and hear that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Leader Camper. Leader Camper.
Need some help getting up?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speakers, members, joining us in the galleries today, I'd like for everybody to make welcome the Tennessee chapters of Links Incorporated, who are here for their annual Links Day on Tennessee Capitol Hill. On behalf of the House of Representatives, we welcome you. We thank you for your continued service to our community. Wear green for Links. Thank you. I want to thank them. Where are they? Thank you for your leadership. Thank you all for your continuing to come. Thank you all for the items and the things that you stand for. We greatly appreciate you. Members, please make them feel welcome.
Representative Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to stand before you with Chairman Davis as we recognize our legislative intern, Amelia Haymaker. Amelia is standing on the side, but I have a new title for Amelia Haymaker. It's My Little Millie, as spoken by her father and her mother who are accompanying her. Please make welcome Mr. and Mrs. Marilyn and Carrie Haymaker.
Representative Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just wanted to add Briarcrest Christian School boys basketball team to the already very long list
of state champions hailing from District 95. It's that time of year, folks, so this will be my first, but probably not my last announcement. But congratulations to the Briarcrest Saints on your title.
All right. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction to resolutions.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that all resolutions properly filed be introduced pursuant to Order 17 and placed on the consent calendar, referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate Joint Resolutions congratulatory and memorializing.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that all Senate joint resolutions congratulatory and memorializing on line that has to be placed on the consent calendar, pursuant to Order 17.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Resolutions lying over.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that all resolutions line over be referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Introduction to bills, Senate bills on first consideration.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that Senate bills 1,567, 1,591, 1,782, 1,861, 1,884, 1,910, 2,061, 2,138, 2,238, 2,255, 2,355, 2,407, 2,542, 2,558, and 2,589. Transmitted by the Senate, be held on desk pending third consideration of the companion House bills.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Senate bills on second consideration, House bills on second consideration.
Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that House bills 2,648 to 2,658 and 2,660 be passed on second consideration and be held on the desk referred to the appropriate standing committee.
Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Additions, memorials, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, calendars. Mr. Speaker, the House has a consent calendar.
Chair Lady Moody, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of the consent calendar on third and final consideration in keeping with Rule 50.
Chair Lady moves passage of the consent calendar. Probably second, Mr. Clerk. Any objections been filed?
Mr. Speaker, item 5, House Bill 2498 has been objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 6, House Bill 2453, objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 7, House Bill 2454, objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 12, House Bill 2542, objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 16, House Bill 2070, objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 19, House Bill 1791, objected to by Chairman Clemens. Item 27, House Joint Resolution 1066, objected to by Chairman Clemens. And item 34, House Joint Resolution 1073, objected to by Chairman Faison.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Anyone seeking recognition on the consent calendar? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we are voting on the consent calendar. All members in favor vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Zachary, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 95, no nays.
Having received a constitutional majority, I declare the consent calendar passed without objection. Most reconsider table. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the House has a regular calendar.
Call it first bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1771 by Representative Raper and others relative to education. Mr. Speaker, Senate bills on the desk.
Representative Raper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 1569.
Representative Raper moves substitute form Senate Bill 1569, properly seconded without objection. So ordered. Representative Raper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 1569 on third and final consideration.
Representative Raper moves passage of Senate Bill 1569 on third and final consideration. Properly seconded. Mr. Clerk, call it first amendment.
House State and Local Government Committee Amendment Number 1, Mr. Speaker, same as Senate Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Move to withdraw.
Without objection, Committee Amendment Number 1 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Raper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill requires the Department of Correction to conduct an annual assessment of each inmate who is serving a felony offense to ascertain the inmate's highest grade or educational level obtained for helping them for educational advancement and reduce recidivism. And as for the incarcerated individuals, this is permissive. If they don't want to participate, they do not have to, but it will also be on record. Renew my motion.
Representative Raper renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Towns.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, member, for bringing the bill. I think it's a good bill. Years ago, well, what I ask you first is, once we make an assessment of their aptitude, what do we do then to assist them if they are not at the level we think? How do we go about helping them after the point?
Representative Raper.
They will develop a plan and they'll have it on file and tell them exactly what steps that they need to go to get the next level and then the next and so on from that point.
Representative Towns.
So hopefully at some point, once they made that assessment, it will encourage those inmates to take full advantage of the time and possibly go to school while they're there.
Representative Rayburn.
That is correct. And I also will add to that when this education takes place, it reduces recidivism almost up to 50%.
Representative Towns.
One of the reasons some years ago I tried to do a bill similar to this, but it was also encouraging and mandated almost that they would go to school. It would have been by choice, but they go and attend school while they're there, and it may be a little reduction in time as an incentive to get them to go. And this, I think, is a very good bill. It addresses that recidivism rate, as well as once the key turns and they leave, they need to be prepared to try to do something so they don't participate in that recidivism rate. So thank you for the bill. I'd love to sign on to it.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, sponsor. We were able to talk about this legislation a couple of weeks ago and got clarification from the Tennessee Department of Corrections. And so appreciate you being willing to engage in that conversation, find that answer, and look forward to supporting the bill.
All right. Any further discussion? Representative Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just want to remind this body how expensive jails and prisons are to build and manage. You know, we just lost a correctional officer, two weeks ago. My county's got to build a jail, $325 million. Sadly, we can't build a school because we're having to build a jail. But turn these men's lives around, especially young men. We're heading in the right direction. Thank you, Representative Rayburn, for carrying this.
All right. All right. Anyone else? Seeing none, any objections to the question? Seeing none, we are voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 1569, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Hemmer, aye. Towns, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 93, no nays, one present, not voting.
Senate Bill 1569 having received constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2108 by Representative Boyd and others relative to litigation financing.
Representative Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 2108 on third and final consideration.
Representative Boyd moves passage, probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
House Commerce Committee Amendment number 1.
Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a quality amendment. Therefore, we move to adopt.
Chairman Vaughn moves adoption of committee amendment number 1, probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of committee amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House Bill 2108 will put some guardrails in place for the commercial litigation financing industry. It will create a distinction between commercial and consumer litigation financing. It will prohibit financiers from affiliated foreign adversaries and sovereign wealth funds designated by the federal government, such as China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, Venezuela, etc. It also dictates that financiers cannot direct litigation strategy, settlement decisions, or attorney selection. And ultimately, it prevents the financiers from receiving more money from the settlement than the plaintiff, ultimately keeping the plaintiff at the center of the lawsuit. Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Representative Boyd renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 2108 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 91, no nays, 3 present, not voting.
House Bill 2108, having received the constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 687 by Leader Camper and others relative to voting rights. Mr. Speaker, the Senate bill is on the desk.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 336.
Leader Camper moves to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 336, probably seconded without objection. So ordered. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move passage of Senate Bill 336 on third and final consideration.
Leader Camper moves passage of Senate Bill 336 on third and final consideration. By second, Mr. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House Judiciary Committee Amendment number 1.
Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment rewrites the bill. Move to adopt, and I'll defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman Farmer moves adoption of committee amendment number 1. Probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting committee amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Leader Camper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members, right now, to have your voting rights restored, an individual must have 1, completed their sentence, 2, paid their court costs, 3, paid restitution, and be current on child support. This amendment makes a narrow adjustment to our voting rights restitution statute. It does not change the court-based restoration process that we adopted last year. Instead, it addresses eligibility requirements. So it provides for a narrow exception that individuals must have demonstrated 12 consecutive months of compliance with all child support orders, including arrearages, before they become eligible to vote. It is not a forgiveness bill. What it does, it allows a person to petition the court to have their voting rights restored. If you owe child support, it doesn't cancel it. You just have to be current with paying your court order. And with that, I renew my motion.
Leader Camper renews her motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. Any objection? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 336 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 64, 24 nays, 5 present, not voting.
Senate Bill 336 and received constitutional majority. I declare passed without objection. Motion for reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 200 by Chairman Hicks and others relative to alcoholic beverages. Mr. Speaker, Senate bills on the desk.
Chairman Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to Senate Bill 0192.
Chairman Hicks moves substitute conform Senate Bill 192, probably seconded without objection. So ordered. Chairman Hicks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of Senate Bill 0192 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Hicks moves passage of Senate Bill 192 on third and final consideration. Probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House State and Local Government Committee Amendment number 1. Mr. Speaker, same as Senate Amendment number 1.
Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
House and State Local Committee Amendment number 1, same as the Senate amendment, move to withdraw.
Without objection, committee amendment number 1 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill allows Tennessee distilleries to sell at their premises both spirits they produce and tequila products they own the intellectual property for that are manufactured in Mexico, while clarifying on-site consumption and retail sales rules. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Chairman Hicks renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move previous question.
Previous question been called. Is there objection? Seeing none, we're on the board. All those in favor of Senate Bill 192, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Towns, aye. Mr. Clerk. Oh. Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 77, 10 nays, 7 present, not voted.
Senate Bill 192 and received constitutional majority. Everybody declare passed without objection. The motion reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2356 by Chairman Howell relative to evidence.
Chairman Howell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 2356 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Howell moves passage following second. Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
House Transportation Committee Amendment number 1.
Vice Chairman Butler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment rewrites the bill. Move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Vice Chairman Butler moves adoption of committee amendment number 1. Probably second. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of committee amendment number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Howell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill simply adds school safety personnel to the list of those individuals such as SROs and law enforcement who can review a video of a violation of a stopped school bus when they're letting students on and off of the school bus and determine that a violation took place and notify the court of the DA. That's all the bill does. I renew my motion, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Howe renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of House Bill 2356 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 93, one nay.
House Bill 2356 having received a constitutional majority, hereby declare passed by objection. Most reconsidered table. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1527 by Representative McCallum relative to human trafficking.
Representative McCallum, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 1527 on third and final consideration.
Representative McCallum moves passage. Following second, Mr. Clerk, call the first amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman White moves adoption. Committee amendment number 1, probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of committee amendment number 1, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative McCallum, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, what House Bill 1527 does is simply require the LEAs to adopt a K through 12 age-appropriate, grade-appropriate curriculum on human trafficking prevention and awareness. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I send over any questions and renew my motion.
Representative McCallum renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor of House Bill 1527 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 91, nay, one present, not voting.
House Bill 1527 having received a constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. The most reconsidered table. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2089 by Chairman Powers and others relative to victims of communism.
Chairman Powers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 2089 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Powers moves passage. Following second, Mr. Clerk, call the first amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for explanation.
Chairman White moves adoption. Committee amendment number 1, probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of committee amendment number 1, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Powers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 2089 requires that each LEA and public charter school shall recognize November the 7th of each year as Victims of Communism Day to honor the people who have fallen victim to communist regimes around the world. House Bill 2089 also recognizes each LEA and public charter school that provides a world history and geography course to high school students enrolled in LEA or public charter school to provide students with at least 45 minutes of instruction on Victims of Communism Day or the following day of instruction if November the 7th falls on a weekend or non-instructional day. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I would renew my motion.
Chairman Powers renews the motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Sapicki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. Is there objection? There's objection. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Boyd, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 73, 21 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 2089 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 72, 17 nays, one present, not voting.
House Bill 2089 having received a constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. Most reconsidered table. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 469 by Representative Reeves and others relative to leases. Mr. Speaker, the Senate bill is on the desk.
Representative Reeves, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to SB 350.
Representative Reeves moves substitute form Senate Bill 350, probably seconded without objection. So ordered. Representative Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of SB 350 on third and final consideration.
Representative Reeves moves passage of Senate Bill 350 on third and final consideration, probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call it First Amendment.
House Commerce Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Vaughn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We move to adopt.
Chairman Vaughn moves adoption of committee amendment number one. Probably second. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of committee amendment number one say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopt the next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Reeves, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chair, members, this bill is a change to Tennessee's existing residential landlord-tenant law, and it provides that a landlord may not prohibit lawful possession, carrying, transportation, or storage of a firearm inside of a tenant's leased residential premises. At its core, this recognizes that a leased dwelling unit is someone's home, and a renter should not have fewer rights of lawful self-defense inside their home than someone who owns. And with that, I renew my motion.
Representative Reeves renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker. And sponsor, I'm always concerned when we are expanding more access to firearms and things like this. But tell me, are there examples right now where this is happening that were somehow brought to you?
Representative Reeves.
Yes, sir. My understanding is that there are a number of groups, maybe even down in Memphis, that are preventing that from happening. And certainly it's happened in public housing before as well.
Representative Pearson.
As I understand your legislation, this wouldn't impact public housing, though. Is that correct?
Representative Reeves.
Well, you're asked whether or not there was an example, and yes, there was an example of that, and it's been litigated. But yes, it's also happening in private housing.
Representative Pearson.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Again, you're saying property owners who are renting out their property to individuals who could choose to rent in another place that would allow for access to firearms is having their property rights, in essence, kind of reduced by this legislation because they're not having any control over people's access to firearms. But I do believe when it comes to public housing, even incidents that deal with gun violence or any forms of violence could actually lead to people not being able to access their homes, which is another problem that we can articulate and discuss. But again, if I'm understanding this legislation correctly, an individual who privately owns an apartment complex or something to this effect, you're saying they are not able to have any stipulations as it relates to the access to firearms on the properties that they own, correct?
Representative Reeves.
Thank you for the question. And I've got a little bit of trouble hearing your questions, but a couple things that you said I'll happy to answer. The first is that residential leases are not typically negotiated term by term. That's number one. Number two, we already do some things within landlord-tenant law that puts obligations on landlords relative to tenants. We make sure that they are providing a habitable premises. That is an obligation that cuts against the landlord's property rights, but we've determined is necessary for tenants. We've make sure that they can't access those premises without proper notice. We make sure that there's laws relative to security deposits that they have to follow. And I could go on, but there's a number of things that this fits squarely within the framework of.
Representative Pearson.
And this is the reason I think this legislation is a little different than ensuring that a place is habitable, et cetera, right? Those are some of the foundational things that are necessary for someone to have a good quality of life, and I agree with that. But when you're putting restrictions on people's private property and what they choose to do when they're leasing it out to folks, particularly when it comes to something as dangerous as gun violence, I think that's wrong. I think if you own an apartment building and that's one of the qualifications that you do not have firearms there in order to ensure the safety of residents and also to reduce the likelihood of people, particularly children, misusing those firearms and harming themselves or other people, I think that's a reasonable thing. And I don't think it's the government's right or responsibility to interject in that way when someone's really just trying to save potentially another individual's life and reduce the amount of gun violence that we're seeing. Because you know this statistic, I'm sure, but gun violence is the #1 killer of children in the state of Tennessee and the United States of America. We too often see too many homicides, too many suicides. And if these landowners, these property owners are doing what they can through the rights that they have as property owners to reduce that accessibility, I think that is a good thing. But for us to pass legislation that then says you all aren't allowed to do this any longer, I think that's wrong. And to all of my colleagues who have been, at least in the past, big property rights advocates, the reality is this is us as a government deciding that something that is in the public interest is not allowed to be perpetuated by a private entity or a property owner. And I don't think that makes sense, particularly with the crisis and the epidemic that we are in. And so for those reasons, I cannot support your legislation. Thank you, Speaker.
Representative Reeves.
Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
All right. Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sponsor, thank you for bringing legislation that helps protect Second Amendment rights in America. That's tremendously important. Stopping one man from infringing upon another person's right because they need a roof over their head. Thank you so much. As you know, I wish this bill went further, but I appreciate the step you're going forward with. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker Pro Tem Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call previous question.
Previous question being called. Is there objection? There's objection. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Renault, aye. Moon, aye. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 72, 22 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 350 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 73, 21 nays, one present, not voting.
Senate Bill 350 having received a constitutional majority, I declare passed without objection. Motion to reconsider is tabled. Let journal reflect. Representative Hardaway is excused. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1853 by Representative Renault and others relative to school nutrition. Mr. Speaker, Senate bills on the desk.
Representative Renault, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to SB 2423.
Representative Renault moves to substitute and conform Senate Bill 2423. Following second without objection. So ordered. Representative Renault.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of SB 2423 on third and final consideration.
Representative Renault moves passage of Senate Bill 2423 on third and final consideration. Following second. Mr. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment number 1, Mr. Speaker, same as Senate Amendment number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Same as the Senate amendment, so I move to withdraw.
Without objection, Committee Amendment number 1 withdrawn. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Renault, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, HB 1853 is a straightforward bill that applies a simple common sense standard to food served through our school nutrition programs. It removes petroleum-based artificial dyes from foods that are provided to students in school meals. These dyes add no nutritional value. They are only used for appearance to make food look brighter and more colorful. Last year, this General Assembly took an important first step by removing Red 40 from school meals. At that time, there were concerns about supply disruptions or increased costs. What we actually saw was that vendors adapted ahead of schedule. This bill simply expands the same standard to the remaining petroleum-based dyes. This bill does not ban products from grocery stores, affect vending machines, concessions, or fundraisers. Parents can still purchase whatever they choose for their families. This legislation only applies to meals served through school nutrition programs where children do not have the ability to choose what they are served. When the state provides meals through a taxpayer-funded program, it is reasonable to ensure that meals meet a thoughtful standard. These dyes provide no nutritional benefit and alternatives already exist. This takes a practical approach and allows existing contracts to run their course and provides time for schools and vendors to transition if needed. It ensures that when Tennessee schools feed our children, we are prioritizing foods that support their health and well-being. I renew my motion.
Representative Renault renews her motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Sapicki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. We're on the board for previous question. All those in favor of previous question, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 56, 32 nays.
Previous question fails. Representative Grills, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Representative Renault, you and I had a conversation earlier talking about
affecting markets and making sure that we don't get in the market, in the business of banning things and letting the market take care of all those issues. So what this strictly deals with LEAs. It has nothing to do with the market, the free market, correct?
Representative Renault.
That is correct.
Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that's all I want to do. I will just get that on record. Thank you.
All right. Representative White.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And sponsor, as I mentioned in subcommittee, I agree with the direction you're going. My only concern is making sure where it says in the Senate amendment, expands the list of petroleum-based synthetic dyes that are prohibited from sale or distribution in LEA. Do you feel we're putting an undue burden on our LEAs to do something that our federal government hasn't done? I'm concerned about our LEAs and our districts being able to comply with this.
Representative Renault.
Thank you for the question. There are 2 other states that have already done this, and they've had no issues complying. Vendors and manufacturers are already working hard to meet federal mandates. There's 3 of the dyes are already asked by the federal government to be removed from manufacturers, so they are quickly already adapting to that. The schools in West Virginia and Louisiana has had no problem whatsoever replacing any foods that have artificial dyes with either dye-free foods or real foods. So I don't believe this will impact our school nutrition programs negatively. In fact, the schools that have done this have said it has not cost them any more money. The replacements were similar in cost.
Representative Reeves.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Struggling with the microphone here. All right, I rise in support of this bill. And first, I want to thank the sponsor, Representative Renault, for bringing this bill and for the thoughtful work she's put into it. Issues like this are not always easy, and I appreciate the effort she's invested in moving this conversation forward. And I want to be clear that I'm pro-business and pro-farmer and pro-industry. Tennessee's farmers, food manufacturers, and retailers are a vital part of our economy and our heritage. They feed our communities, they employ thousands of Tennesseans and help keeping our state going strong. This bill is not opposing those who have concerns about it. Reasonable people can look at some of these issues differently, but this bill is about something narrower and very specific. What the state of Tennessee chooses to serve to children through school nutrition programs. School meals are one of the places that the state directly shapes nutrition and what we provide food to students through a government program. We should take that responsibility seriously. And we know Tennessee's got some real public health challenges. Our rates of obesity and diabetes and metabolic disease remain high. So this bill, I think, takes a measured step, and it removes a very short list of petroleum-based synthetic dyes from food served through school nutrition programs beginning in 2027. And I'll repeat that, petroleum-based synthetic dyes. So with that, members, I'll just note that one of the arguments on the other side of this is that it creates a patchwork of regulation. But Tennessee has never hesitated to lead when something matters. We've led on school choice and on civil justice reform and building one of the strongest business climates in the country. And often when states lead, the country eventually follows. So with that, thank you for the bill. I'll be voting for it, and I encourage everyone to vote for it.
Representative Renault.
Thank you for that support. I would like to mention also that nearly 1 million Tennessee children eat meals in our public schools, and they learn in our classrooms every single day. This is why setting this thoughtful standard is important. These are the future of our state. They will be our teachers, farmers, lawyers, business owners who carry Tennessee forward. So if they will take care of us someday, we have the responsibility to take care of them today. Thank you.
Representative Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And sponsor, does this bill apply to concession stands that would be set up on school property?
Representative Renault.
No, it does not. It exempts concession stands, fundraisers, and vendings.
Representative Doggett.
Did you say vending machines?
Representative Renault.
Correct.
Representative Doggett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So only be applicable to what's served in the cafeteria.
Representative Renault.
That is correct.
Representative Doggett.
Thank you.
Representative Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sponsor,
I initially had drafted a language very similar to this earlier in the year, and I got a lot of pushback from it initially. And one of the companies, the parent company for Gatorade, which is PepsiCo, stated that they were in the process of, over the next few years, being able to eliminate some of these dyes that would fall under this legislation. And so with that, my question is that how would this affect the use of Gatorade, especially for sporting activities on school campuses, and that stuff is ordered through the cafeteria vendors as well. So just wanted to know what our process will be for that so that we can address their concerns.
Representative Renault.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If it is ordered through the school nutrition lunch program, I do believe it would be affected. I am not aware of that being served, though, like at breakfast or lunch, or that being an option for students. So I'm uncertain if it would affect that, if a sports program.
All right. Representative Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. Is there objection? Nope. We're voting. All those in favor of Senate Bill 2423, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 71, 5 nays, 15 present, I voted.
Senate Bill 2423 and received constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2395 by Representative Renault and others relative to social studies education.
Representative Renault, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to substitute and conform to SB 1953. Oh. Just kidding, there were two of these. Okay. Okay, my error. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of HB 2395 on third and final consideration.
Representative Renault moves passage following second. Mr. Clerk, call the First Amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt and defer to the sponsor.
Chairman White moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1. Following second, any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopt the next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Renault, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this bill is about making sure that Tennessee students understand the ideas that gave birth to our nation. This legislation requires that at least once in middle school and once in high school, students are shown in a state-approved civics instructional video as part of their existing social studies instruction. The video must be historically accurate, free of political advocacy, and focus on explaining two things: the meaning of the Declaration of Independence, particularly the idea that our rights are endowed by our Creator, and the religious affiliation and moral beliefs of the Founding Fathers involved in the Articles of Confederation and the Constitutional Convention. This matters because today many of our students graduate without a clear understanding of where the idea of natural rights comes from and why our founders believed government must be limited. These ideas did not appear out of nowhere. They came from a worldview that believed human rights exist before government ever does. Yet a common myth has taken hold that our founders were largely atheist or deist or purely secular thinkers. The historical record shows otherwise. They came from many different denominations and traditions: Anglican, Presbyterian, Congregationalist, Baptist, Quakers, and Catholic, but they broadly shared the belief that liberty is grounded in something higher than government authority. Even Benjamin Franklin, often described as the most secular of our founding fathers, stood during the Constitutional Convention and reminded delegates that they needed divine guidance. He said, "I have lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven be held in this assembly every morning." Understanding the mindset helps explain why the Declaration of Independence says our rights are endowed by a Creator and why our system of government was designed to protect rights rather than grant them. This bill does not promote religion, and it does not require students to adopt the beliefs of the founders. It simply ensures they understand the founders had them. Civic education should be honest about our history and the ideas that shaped our country, and this bill helps ensure that Tennessee students learn that history clearly and accurately. I renew my motion.
Representative Renault renews her motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker. And sponsor, I studied government in college. I loved civics class. It was my favorite for many of the reasons that you're talking about, learning about the ideals of our country, the ability of a group of people to throw off the tyrant in our nation's founding. But I also learned later that our founding documents were built and made amidst a whole lot more turmoil. The things that we didn't talk a lot about was slavery. And the fact that I think the statistics are 41 out of 56 of the founders and signers of the Declaration of Independence enslaved people. 25 out of 55 of those who signed the Constitution enslaved people. And there was a genocide against Native Americans that led to what we now know as the United States of America, a group of people who are still marginalized, denied of their access to the lands that they have cherished and cared for tens of thousands of years. And so when reading your legislation, I understood it needs to be historically accurate and devoid of political advocacy, but I'm curious if this history is going to be included. And also, you mentioned the religious affiliation and moral beliefs of the founding fathers involved with the Articles of Confederation and the Constitutional Convention need to be articulated. But I also am curious if your expectation and intention of this legislation will also be the paradox of America's foundation.
Representative Renaud.
Thank you for the question. As far as our founding fathers and those that owned slavery, it is important not to dilute history. We need to understand and know what that is so that we don't repeat those mistakes. But the Bible also says that we will be judged in the time of our culture. And at that time, it was a common practice. Not saying that's right or wrong. The Bible actually does instruct those who do own slaves on how to treat them and to treat them fairly and kindly. But our founding fathers definitely believe that all men were created equal, and it was those beliefs that moved us from the position of slavery to where we are today. So this particular legislation does not advocate to teach those things. I think we have many other pieces of civic education that likely does include that, but this intention for this legislation is for that to not necessarily be included.
Representative Pearson.
It is nearly unconscionable to believe that you just articulated the theological vision of enslavers in this Capitol in the year 2026 as though it was okay. Because here's your problem. The Bible, which was written in many different iterations, but is articulating a time of thousands of years ago, was used as justification for enslavement that happened thousands of years later, 400 years ago in our country. And so even if you're trying to articulate, as you are incorrectly, that the Bible was somehow giving permission to slavery, that would have been in the era in which it was happening. It wouldn't be used as a theological justification just 400 years ago in our nation's history. But what is worse, and what is deeply disturbing by what you have just said is not how you are saying, and that was wrong or immoral. There is no question that slavery was immoral. And you shouldn't need a Bible to know that. And there were always people who were antithetical to the antebellum South's iteration of chattel slavery. The people who were enslaved, who were kidnapped from the continent of Africa and brought here against their will. And I am a Christian, and I am a 7th-generation Tennessean. I have read the Bible from front to back, and the stories about love, about who Christ is, about loving thy neighbor and loving God is what we are told to profess. So anyone who misused the Bible to enslave people, misuse the Bible to keep people in bondage, they were wrong then as you are wrong now. I refuse to support this legislation because the lens by which you are viewing the world is toxic, is damning, is wrong, and is immoral. And you, my fellow colleagues, should do much more work in understanding the history of this country and understanding the history of enslavement and the consequences that it continues to wreak and the barriers it continues to create in this state and around the country. No one should ever be able to use Christianity as justification for the enslavement of people, especially not someone who has the audacity to call themselves a legislator.
Representative Renaud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I didn't say that the Bible approved of it. It gave guidelines for it. And at that time, many people who actually sold themselves or gave themselves in order to pay their debts. So the type of slavery that likely occurred that the Bible was referencing was not the type of slavery that occurred that put people in bondage here. It was absolutely wrong. But the Bible did give parameters in that Old Testament time on how they were to treat people fairly. I think there isn't anybody here that believes that slavery was right or that it wasn't that it was a moral thing at that time. But we have to acknowledge our history and that these things did in fact happen. And what we should acknowledge even greater is that where we have come from that time, we have moved past that where we can look at each other as brothers and sisters. But it does not, we should not ignore what the history is of either slavery or the case of this legislation, which is to just simply teach the worldview of our founding fathers and let that so that we understand the worldview that it was based in as we look at our government today and the way that our founding fathers intended for it to be molded going forward.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Was that a lie? And are we going to teach that?
Representative Renaud.
No, that is not a lie. And it's that the founders believed that so much that they put that into our founding documents. At the time, and you'll remember history, that it took many hundreds of years to be able to rectify what our culture at that time. But putting those words into the documents is what allowed us to move forward. Unfortunately, it inched. It wasn't an immediate change, but those words ring true still today. And it's the progress that we have made as a culture and the values that America was founded on have allowed us to move forward and to be able to recognize that all men are created equal.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm a black man, and the person that had me during those times was a black man. When historically accurate, not cultures and evolution and how things evolved, but historically accurate, that was a lie. My forefather was not treated equally, was not considered to be a man. So for you to say we're going to have this historically accurate teaching and not teach that is just flat wrong. Historically accurately means when they put pen to paper, they said all. They did not mean all. That's all. They did not mean all. So if we're going to do this historically accurately, let's do it. If we're not, if we're going to be able to pick and choose, then that's not the way we should teach. And say that this is now a historically accurate statement since we've evolved and we've got better and we've understood the mistakes of the past. The mistakes of the past says that my predecessor was not a man. So this is a lie. I love this country. I love the fact that our forefathers created, as Winston Churchill said, you know, democracy is horrible, but all of them the worst. All of them, the rest of them are worse. And I'm grossly paraphrasing that. But again, so that's not where I'm coming from. We have to accept that as African Americans that we were enslaved. We have to accept that and we have to move on and we have to make things better for us and the next generation. But for you to come here and say that we're going to teach something, we're going to now in 2026 teach something that's historically accurate and it doesn't touch on that. And you say that these are one of the things that we're going to teach. So we're going to ignore that whole piece. But we're going to focus on where other people might have been from a religious standpoint because of a statement that they made here or there. You're not going to be able to prove that they were active member of a church for a lot of them. You will not be able to prove that historically, because several of them probably had some things that they put in pen to paper that talked about their faith. But historically, you're not going to do that. But here we are having this conversation, and you're ignoring this gaping hole in the creation of our great country. I've got a problem with that. This is just flat out not, it's not the way to teach historically accurate information. Either you teach it all, or we just move on and say that this time, these documents are great documents. These are great documents that we want all our children to understand. But to say because some people have said that some of these were atheists, some of them not, we'll deal with that, but we're not going to deal with the gaping hole is wrong. You know, and my question to you is, on a whole different level, how many of the forefathers that signed these documents were immigrants, were first generation United States eventual citizens?
Representative Renaud.
First, to address your question about the factualness of the documents, if you would like to sponsor legislation to teach the aspects of slavery, I certainly would support you in that. But this legislation specifically is to teach the meaning of what the founders meant about our rights coming from a creator and not government, and then to dispel the myth that many of our founding fathers were, in fact, not atheist or deist. Even Benjamin Franklin was raised Presbyterian. He's known as our most secular founding father. He was perhaps religiously unorthodox, but he affirmed his belief in a providence. So when I said the legislation says moral belief, it is addressing moral belief in that regard, that maybe he didn't claim a certain denomination or religion, but he did in fact affirm a belief in providence, as many of his documents did state. There were among the 39 signers of the Constitution, a majority of them were Anglican and Episcopalian. But we had other Presbyterian, Congregationalists, Quakers, Methodists, one Catholic. But even those that were deist-leaning did affirm or acknowledge providence, which we associate with the Creator.
Leader Lamberth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I stand to agree with my friend from Knox County. If we're going to teach history, let's teach history. Some of our history is ugly in this country. And there are people over the years that have twisted and poisoned what the Bible says to try to justify an evil act. I stand as a member of the party of Lincoln that he founded. Slavery was, is, and will forever be an evil stain on our country's history. It hurt then, it hurts now, it lingers in the heart of every one of us. The amendment says that this has to be historically accurate and devoid of politically advocacy, that they're going to have to pick a video to teach about this. I don't know about the sponsor, but I know my friend from Knox County is going to be watching real close to see what that video says, and I will be too. Because if it's not historically accurate, if it doesn't talk about the evil of slavery and the struggles that our country have been through every day from then till now, because some person thought it was okay to sell an individual to another individual. It was evil then, it's evil now, it will forever be evil. This is not partisan. If you're on this floor and you are a racist, you cannot be Christian. You could be Christian or you could be racist. You can choose God and you can choose love, or you can choose hate. You cannot choose both. So surely to goodness, we can stand together on this to say this should be historically accurate. But again, they're going to pick a video here to make it historically accurate. I certainly hope that they show the good, the bad, the ugly, the evil and the right as we move past that dark time, but remember it accurately.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How do we how do we deliver a video that's historically accurate and it still gels with not teaching divisive concepts? So if we're delivering a video that speaks to the atrocities of slavery, isn't that considered a divisive concept?
Representative Renault.
Thank you for the question. This legislation does not ask for slavery to be taught. It specifically asks for two things, and it is the meaning of the Declaration of Independence as it relates to our rights coming from a creator and not government, and then the religious or moral beliefs of our founding fathers. So it does not address the slavery issue.
Representative Jones, that's your warning. Quit shouting out across the room, sir. You've done it for the last 5 minutes. Please stop. Representative Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I reclaim my 7 seconds?
You can get it from him. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In teaching the Declaration of Independence, are we basing this in originalism? Is that where we're coming from? Teaching it based on where the founding fathers or their thought process in that time? Is that where we're going with this?
Representative Renault.
I don't believe that the intention of the meaning that our rights come from God, not government, has changed over the last 250 years. So I guess if you want to call that originalist, I suppose that, sure, we can say that we're looking for the originalist idea, but I think we all believe today that our rights come from God, not government, because if we didn't, that means government can take our rights away. And my intention with the legislation is to focus that particular meaning of that so that our children learn the proper role of government.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I understand, and Representative, I understand your intent. I think I do. However, based on what we're receiving, one is there's been a history of laws passed in this chamber that says we can't even speak on things such as slavery or teach it in our schools because it's a divisive concept. The other thing is in the Declaration of Independence, it says that all men are created equal. And we know that is not a truth from when it was written, because some of those individuals saw Black men as property or animals or belongings, and Black women also, and children. And so so how do we reconcile all men are created equal that was written and signed in that time when they didn't treat all men as equal in that time when they wrote it and signed it? So how do we teach the truth to the youth based on just that fact alone?
Representative Renault.
As my friend from Sumner County said, slavery was evil, and the teaching of this part of the Declaration of Independence does not discount what happened. It is true that we need to teach the truth, but by teaching the truth, we learn from history, and when we learn from history, we make better choices, we make better decisions moving forward. The commission, the textbook commission, it will be up to them to find recommend a video to the state board to qualify this, and then the state board will approve or choose a video that reflects the intent of the legislation.
Representative Parkinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you. Representative Warner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move previous question.
This question has been called. Is there objection? Seeing none, let journal reflect Representative Marsh is excused. All those in favor of House Bill 2395 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 64, 25 nays.
House Bill 2395 and received a constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. Most reconsidered is tabled. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1446 by Chairman Todd and others relative to the Recognizing Judea and Samaria Act.
Chairman Todd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 1446 on third and final consideration.
Chairman Todd moves passage, probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call it First Amendment.
House State and Local Government Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment establishes certain exceptions to the requirements under the legislation. I move to adopt.
Chairman Crawford moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1, probably seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Chairman Todd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This legislation standardizes terminology in Tennessee state government materials by requiring the use of historically accurate names, Judea and Samaria, instead of West Bank. With that, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Chairman Todd renews the motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
This question been called. There's objection. We're on the board. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 70, 22 nays, one present not voting.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 1446 as amended vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 68, 21 nays, two present not voting.
House Bill 1446 having received constitutional majority, hereby declare passed without objection. Motion reconsiders tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1731 by Representative Wright and others relative to places of burial.
Representative Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 1731 on third and final consideration.
Representative Wright moves passage, probably seconded. Mr. Clerk, call up First Amendment.
House Judiciary Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Farmer, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move to adopt.
Chairman Farmer moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1, probably seconded. Any discussion on amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopt. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1731 involves the removal of objects from places of burial. I'll like to give you 3 points, one of practice, problem, and proposal. As a veteran, the practice amongst people visiting grave sites might be to leave a coin on the headstone of the deceased. Problem is, people go through cemeteries removing those coins. My proposal is that it be added to the current code, framing this as a desecration of a burial site. And with that explanation, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Representative Wright renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 1731 as amended vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Ms. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 90, no nays, three present not voting.
House Bill 1731 having received constitutional majority, I hereby declare passed without objection. The motion reconsiders table. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2255 by Representative Wright relative to appointments.
Representative Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 2255 on third and final consideration.
Representative Wright moves passage. Call section. Mr. Clerk, call First Amendment.
House Government Operations Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Lafferty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment makes the bill, and I defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman Lafferty moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1. Probably second. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. All those in favor of Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Representative Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 2255, as introduced, had 9 sections. The amendment removed one section, which probably knocked it off being on the consent calendar. All this bill does is add the following verbiage. All vacancies must be filled for the balance of an unexpired term, with the exception of a section on Tennessee fish and Wildlife Commission, which is appointed. Recommendations are made by the governor and they're confirmed by the House within the first 90 days of our next session. With that explanation, Mr. Speaker, I renew my motion.
Representative Wright renews his motion. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, all those in favor of House Bill 2255 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 92, no nays, 2 present, I voted.
House Bill 2255 having received constitutional majority, I declare passed without objection. Motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 1513 by Deputy Speaker Zachary, relative to Transparency for Deepfakes and Political Advertising Act.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move passage of House Bill 1513 on third and final consideration.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, Ms. Patches, probably second. Mr. Clerk, call it First Amendment.
House State and Local Government Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman Crawford, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment establishes that broadcasters, carriers, or hosts of content which they did not create or produce, I move to adopt.
Chairman Crawford, move adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1, probably second. Any discussion on amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Adopted. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this legislation deals with AI political deepfakes. If an entity creates an AI deepfake video that depicts a elected official or a candidate doing something or saying something they did not do, it has to include a disclosure at the beginning and the end. With that, I renew my motion.
Deputy Speaker Zachary renews the motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker, and sponsor for the legislation. I had a similar bill, HB 2340, dealing with deepfakes as well, and so it's definitely a concern. My only question is with this amended language, number 2, it says the subdivision where there's the penalty does not apply to a radio or television broadcasting station, cable or satellite television operator, streaming or other programming service when it is paid to broadcasting material containing a deepfake to the extent such entity is not responsible for the creation of the deceptive and fraudulent deepfake. But if someone is sending the material that has sort of the use of deepfakes in it, why are they being carved out of being responsible for that?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my understanding that in that industry, they are simply being paid to run ads, so they don't have the responsibility of filtering fact from fiction within those ads. So if those AI deepfake ads are being created, we are now telling the producers of those deepfakes that they have to include that disclosure at the beginning or the end.
Representative Pearson.
If one of these entities does still distribute information and the person producing it has not put that information at the beginning that it's a deepfake, they can still be held liable?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I understood your question, Representative, the producer of that content, is that what you're asking? The producer of that content, yes, then they are held liable and there's a right of action against that entity because of that, yes.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker and sponsor.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, any objection to the question? Seeing none, we're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 1513 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Ayes 91, no nays, 1 present, I voted.
House Bill 1513 having received constitutional majority by declare passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up next bill, Mr. Clerk.
House Bill 2194 by Speaker Zachary, relative to public institutions of higher education.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move passage of House Bill 2194 on third and final consideration.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, Ms. Batch is probably second. Ms. Clerk, call it First Amendment.
House Education Committee Amendment Number 1.
Chairman White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to adopt and defer to the sponsor for further explanation.
Chairman White moves adoption of Committee Amendment Number 1, probably second. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of Committee Amendment Number 1 say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. You adopt. Next amendment, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, no further amendments.
Deputy Speaker Zachary, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this piece of legislation requires each Board of Regent of a state university to adopt policies that ensure the awarding and denial or revocation of tenure is not used as a form of discipline. Ensure that disciplinary actions do not alter or suspend a faculty member's tenure status except as provided for by institutional policy, and after providing the faculty member due process, provide disciplinary procedures that are the same for tenured and non-tenured faculty. For faculty member misconduct, ensure due process for that faculty member, comply with all applicable state and federal law. And the Chancellor's Board of Regents, Chief Executive Officers have sole discretion over suspension and termination. With that, I renew my motion.
Deputy Speaker Zachary renews the motion. Any discussion on the bill? Representative McKenzie, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, as part of this bill allowing the president of a university to bypass those elements, or even after those elements are, one question, or even after those elements are satisfied and the process doesn't yield a fireable offense, that the president can now fire the employee for a cause that he or she determines?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could you expand on elements? What are you referencing when you say elements?
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm talking about the fact that the policies have to include the disciplinary procedures for the tenured and non-tenured. The fact that it's compliant with the law, that the disciplinary actions don't alter the tenure. All of the elements that I would say a typical due process would go on a university's campus to deal with an employee, that the president of that university can unilaterally fire anyone for what he or she believes is for cause.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative, if I understand your question, so the 5 things that you've laid out, the 5 things that are in this bill, we are requiring the boards to adopt policies, and we're saying that these 5 things must be included within that policy.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, but okay, all of those things are included, but a president, not any of that we have today, comes to an employee that he or she may not get along with, or they put something out there, whatever the reason, that they can fire that employee for a cause. All these policies are part of that university, policies and procedures manual. But at the end of the day, can a university president fire that employee by him or herself without anything dealing with these policies, what he or she determines to be for cause? Or they just say it's for cause and you are hereby dismissed from the university?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we require the board to set policies. These are the 5 things that have to be included but are not limited to. So if you're saying, can the president fire somebody for cause? If that cause is included within the policies created by the board, then yes, just like any other entity. So if he's firing for cause, which is what the words that you used, for cause would include the policies adopted pursuant to this subsection. So yes.
Representative McKenzie.
All right, thank you. So my last question. Does the president have to cite chapter and verse the cause that they're using to fire said employee?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That'll be up to the policies set by the board, because again, we're not micromanaging every aspect of it. We're simply saying these are the 5 things that have to be included. But then there are certainly other aspects within code of conduct policies that each university unique to them. MTSU may set different policies than the University of Tennessee, than Austin Peay or Memphis. And so it's dependent upon the policy set by the institution. But back to answer your question, yes, the president will be able to terminate for cause after due process, because we ensure due process for every faculty member in number 4. So it'll be up to the boards to lay out what due process looks like.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you. My concern is that there are some fireable offenses, and I am all for that. That nobody is, there's no guarantee of employment, and we are at will state. All that said, our tenure has made the university in my district one of the best in the country, if not the best in the United States. And so, for us to really dabble in business that's been going on since 1794 concerns me. And by I say dabble, yes, we write the checks, but there are certain things as a faculty member that have become standard. Now, if we did away with tenure across this country, I'm all for it, but we're going to be playing at a disadvantage if we continue with bills like this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative. So just to be clear, I did meet with the University of Tennessee. I did meet with MTSU. I did meet with ETSU and got feedback on the final product that you see before you. And I'm not going to speak for the universities and say that they are 100% supportive, but there was no university that spoke to me that was against this piece of legislation.
Representative Bain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my dad. So my dad arrived in Knoxville in 1994. He started as an accounting professor at the University of Tennessee. He became chair of the accounting department at the Haslam School of Business. He then became associate dean at the Haslam School of Business, and he was responsible for all the graduate education programming. And he's taught thousands of students who went on to become accountants and business leaders all across this country and the state. And he shaped curriculum, he mentored many, and he represented with honor, the University of Tennessee at Knoxville at the national and international stages. And these types of legacies don't happen overnight. It requires decades of sustainable work to build a reputation at an institution like the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, which is why tenure exists. Tenure was created so that universities could attract and retain those educators who were willing to invest their entire professional careers in building programs like at the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. It gives professors stability to develop long-term research and generate the reputational capital that is necessary to attract the students that these institutions want to see. And without tenure, programs lose continuity and the institutional knowledge disappears. And tenure is not a guarantee of a job forever. Professors can still be disciplined and terminated for cause, which Representative Zachary mentioned. But what tenure protects is academic independence and long-term investment in an institution like the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. And my dad, Dr. Bruce Bain, who's given his life to this institution and to the city of Knoxville, I ask you to think about not only my dad's legacy, but those professors that have incredibly touched your lives and their legacies in your lives as well. Thank you.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Representative, thank you to your dad for his service to the University of Tennessee and the students. I just want to point to Section A1, because I think we're shifting into a part of a conversation that actually has nothing to do with this bill. We're not addressing or changing the dynamic of tenure. In fact, under 3A1, Representative, we say academic tenure serves as an important safeguard for academic freedom, the advancement of knowledge, protection of intellectual independence, and public institution for higher education. Safeguarding of tenure must be balanced with the responsibility of institutional leadership to ensure accountability, integrity, and appropriate professional conduct. And so meeting with University of Tennessee, MTSU, and others, they did talk about the importance of tenure for academic freedom. And what a recruiting tool that is. And that's why no state has made any changes to eliminate tenure because of that reason. And so with this piece of legislation, we bring accountability to both those tenured and non-tenured faculty and treat them in the same way related to accountability. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the Speaker, if we recall, the Focus Act gave powers to each university to do a number of things like employ the chief executive, and also gave them power to deal with issues of tenure. My question and concern would be, does this particular piece of legislation reverse anything or do away with any of the powers granted to the LGI boards or other university boards when it regards tenure?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, sir, it does not. This simply addresses the aspect of accountability for all employees, requiring the boards of each university to set policies as they see fit. Now, there are 5 things we require them to do, but they set the policies as they see fit. But it does not undermine anything that we passed related to the Focus Act.
Representative Love.
Thanks. Just want to make sure, as I list out a few things, so we still will have that faculty members will have the right to be represented by counsel, that they will be notified of specific charges in writing, the time and place and nature of the hearing, at least 20 days prior to the hearing, and all those things will still be included in that, is what you're telling me.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
That will be up to the board to determine those policies related to the 5 things that we're including within this bill. So that'll be up to the board to determine for this specific aspect if they choose to put that within their policies and procedures.
Representative Love.
Thank you, Speaker.
Representative Salinas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I share a lot of the concerns that my fellow scientist from Knoxville has expressed. But Representative Zachary, have you ever taught at a college or university or academic institution?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This legislation has nothing to do with what my academic pursuits are. We're actually dealing with the discipline and accountability within a university, and this sets policy, requires the board to set policies related to that.
Representative Salinas.
Okay, I'll take that as a no. Have you ever worked or done research at an academic institution?
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, Representative Salinas, this piece of legislation deals with accountability and ensuring that all tenured and non-tenured employees are treated the same, and requires the board to set specific policies and guidelines. We require them to do 5 specific things within this piece of legislation, and that's what the bill does. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Salinas.
Okay, I'll take that as a no as well. I have taught at an academic institution. I taught pharmacology in the College of Nursing. I have spent my entire professional career at academic institutions. I have only worked in academic institutions. The only non-academic, non-degree granting job that I have ever had has been here. So I know the challenges that we are faced with, that young faculty members, young adjunct professors like I was face. The graduate students that I went to school with, I know what they're considering when they apply for a job to get their labs going. I've worked at the top institutions in our country that are degree granting. I have published in the National Academy of Sciences. And if I wasn't a Tennessean, and if I didn't have the commitment that I do to my community, I would not choose Tennessee as a place to come work as an academic. The majority of the people I went to graduate school have left Tennessee, despite working in the top labs, because of laws that we pass here. Not only this one, but other ones as well. So as people try to make their next career moves, this is something that they're going to see. This is something that they're going to see, and it's not attractive to us. Our research and our funding dollars have already diminished. Other states are doing better than we are. I had a conversation with Lambert about this. They're putting more money into, their state is putting more money into research. So we are already at a disadvantage. Not to mention all the other things that y'all are doing with immigration, school system, vouchers, the list goes on. But I won't bring those up because there are other things that I want to get across. So we're already struggling to recruit the top. I want the top people to come to Tennessee because it's a great place to be. We have wonderful people, but it's going to be a challenge in recruiting those people. And things like this make it even harder. When I was at one of the institutions, there was a professor that got his tenure taken away because of something that happened. The policies were already in place. So many of our institutions are already doing this. All of the institutions that I've talked about are doing this. And I think this creates a barrier for them. It creates more work for them. And it's saying that we don't trust our academic institutions in our state. So to me, this is government overreach. It's big government going after academic institutions where we should be focused on our study, whatever discipline you work in. My experience is in science, but whether you're doing English or you're doing, and heck, I am a scientist. Science has it easier compared to our humanities. The people that teach English and literature, y'all were talking about history earlier. Those people have a harder time securing dollars. They have a harder time recruiting. Science is oftentimes the easiest academic path to take. So I think of them, if I'm struggling as a scientist, what is it like for them? And what does Tennessee look like in terms of recruiting the next generation of talented professors? To me, we're last right now, and this bill proves it.
Deputy Speaker Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative, truly, most of what you said there is not based on fact. I don't know who you're talking to, but in meeting with the University of Tennessee, they have record enrollment and they literally do not have enough spots to bring in the staff that they're recruiting from around the country. They've had more applications from the Ivy League than they've ever had in their history. Now you can decide if that's a good thing or not. But many of them state they want to come here because of our low tax policies. The University of Tennessee under President Boyd's leadership has become one of the top institutions in the country. You talk to East Tennessee State University, same recruiting advantages that the University of Tennessee has talked about, because I've met with these institutions all over the last couple of weeks. MTSU has one of the most robust quantum visions in the country and is allowing them to be able to recruit across the country. And so, Mr. Speaker, our institutions, we have some of the best higher ed institutions in the country here in Tennessee. And many of the policies that we've created and passed on this floor have made our state extremely attractive for people to come here. And that's why, again, the University of Tennessee is at record enrollment. So I'm thankful for this body and the colleagues who have created the policies that have made Tennessee one of the best states to live, work, and play in the nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Grills.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move previous question.
Previous question been called. We're on the board. All those in favor of previous question vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 72, 21 nays.
Previous question prevails. We're voting. All those in favor of House Bill 2194 as amended vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed vote no. As every member voted, does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Aye, 70, 21 nays, one present, not voted.
House Bill 2194 having received a constitutional majority, I hereby declare passed without objection. The motion in the reconsidered table. Call the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
That completes the regular calendar, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business. Representative Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the rules be suspended for immediate consideration of SJR number 862.
Mr. Clerk, please read the caption.
Senate Joint Resolution 862, a resolution to honor and commend Gina Harjani upon being named the winner of the National Oratorical Contest.
You heard the caption. Any objections? Without objections, the rules are suspended. Representative Alexander.
I move to concur with SJR number 862.
Representative Alexander moves to concur in Senate Joint Resolution 862. Properly seconded. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. I declare concurred in without objection to the motion reconsidered table. Representative Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the rules be suspended for immediate consideration of SJR 863.
Mr. Clerk, please read the caption.
Senate Joint Resolution 863, a resolution to recognize and honor Cooper Castle for his election to the American Legion Tennessee Boys State Governor.
You've heard the caption. Any objections? Without objections, the rules are suspended. Representative Alexander.
I move to concur with SJR 863.
Representative Alexander moves to concur in Senate Joint Resolution 863. Probably seconded. Any objection to the question? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye, aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. I declare concurred without objection. The motion reconsidered table. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the next few motions I have discussed with the minority leader. We are both in concurrence on this, and this may push us over 800 bills in committee this week. I'm not sure. Mr. Speaker, I move that House Bill 1940 be heard in the Business Utilities Subcommittee this week.
You've heard the motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 2510 be heard in the Finance Subcommittee this week.
You heard the motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 1822 be heard in the Education and Instruction Subcommittee this week.
You've heard the motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 1480 be heard in the State and Local Government Committee this week.
You've heard the motion. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bills 1998 and 2410 be heard in the Education Administration Subcommittee this week.
For the motion, any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That House Bills 2388 and 2129 be heard in the K through 12 Subcommittee this week.
For the motion, any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 684 and 2278 be heard in the Health Subcommittee this week.
For the motion, any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Leader Lambert.
Last but not least, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 369 be heard in the Education Committee this week.
For the motion, any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Scheduling and procedural announcements.
Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the Delayed Bills Committee. The Delayed Bills Committee will meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. in the Speaker's conference room. In addition to the calendar that was issued for the Agricultural and Natural Resources Committee, they will also hear a presentation from the Department of Agriculture.
Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call.
Roll call. Ms. Clerk, please take the roll.
Mr. Speaker, non-members present.
Next order, Ms. Clerk.
That completes the regular order, Mr. Speaker.
Leader Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I make this motion, I want to wish Nicole Eskler a happy birthday today. Mr. Speaker, move that the House stand in recess until 9 a.m. on Thursday, March 12, 2026.
Without objection, the House stands in recess till 9 a.m. on Thursday, March 12, 2026.